I'm 46 years old now, and over the years, I've learnt, I suppose, more so that I've got a little bit older, to start to trust my own intuition. So today I wanted to talk about that, and I wanted to talk about it in the context of the current climate, and also in the context of, any time in your life when do you start to really trust yourself? And often this is a journey. We grow up, we often don't always trust our own intuition or our gut feeling, and for whatever reason, we tend to go, we sometimes can go against that. So anyway, the topic of today is like trusting your intuition, and my little blurb before or in the description section was like, have you ever had a feeling that something that was just off, something was just not right, but you actually ignored it? You knew that, in your belly or whatever it was, you were having some sort of emotional response to something, and you just kind of knew something just wasn't quite right. But what you did is you put it down to overthinking something. Maybe you're being silly. Maybe you just need to just get on with it and go with the flow and stop thinking too much about it. But then a little further down the track, you found that, I'm going to say, oh shit. It's like you had that moment of saying to yourself, I knew that was going to happen. I had a feeling that was going to happen. So I want to ask you today, have you ever had those moments? And if you have, that is normally an indicator to you that, maybe you're not paying as much attention to your gut feeling or to your intuition as maybe you should, because your intuition and our human body is very, very clever and very sophisticated at kind of sensing stuff and sensing whether something is on the mark or it's a little bit off. So I just wanted to open with that and just ask you that question, because that is like an indicator to you that maybe you're not listening to your intuition or recognizing when something is off. And then my next question is, when that does happen, when you do have a gut feeling or your intuition is telling you, hey, something's just a little bit off with this, I'm not sensing that what I'm hearing or what I'm being told, or even what I'm seeing, whether it's in a business sense or maybe you're going into a business partnership or something like that, hey, something's not quite right. My gut is telling me, little, I'm going to say the warning radars start going off saying, just tread carefully or think about this in a little bit more detail. So my question to you is, what's your natural response? What's your natural response to when your gut feeling is telling you that? Do you just dismiss it and allow yourself to move on and just run with the normal narrative? Or on the other hand, do you really listen to your intuition? And I want to know, like, if you're watching me, if you're here now and you're with me live, say g'day, say hello in the chat. Let me know where you're dialing in from, and let me know, what is your normal response? Are you in tune with your gut feeling and your intuition, and do you really listen to that and take it on board, or do you kind of just dismiss it and you're not really and you're choosing not to really listen to that for whatever reason? And I've been there. As I said, as I've got a little bit older and would say a little bit wiser, you tend to think about things a whole lot more than potentially what I used to do back in my 20s and in my early 30s, when I was very much about, I wanted to make sure that everybody was happy around me, that I was saying all the right things, doing all the right things, and towing the party line, let's say. Nowadays, I'm a little bit more older, wiser. One might say, some could say skeptical, so I think about things in a lot more detail and take a bit more time to really research, study, and understand things before I move forward. But I also try to be very in tune with my gut feeling and my intuition, so that usually guides me very, very well, and I can make speedy decisions really quickly, because I know that if I'm in tune with what my gut is telling me and my intuition, then I'm usually on the money. That's the first thing I would say. It's just kind of like a little bit of experience throughout the years. So nowadays, here's what I do when it comes time for me to listen to my intuition. And usually I try and, when I'm faced with something that I'm just not sure about, I try and sit for a moment and really sit in the moment and ask myself, what is my body or my intuition actually telling me in this moment, and really try and listen to that, and then try and make some decisions, or decide to do some more research based on what I'm feeling, what I'm, my intuition is telling me. I kind of start to try and look at both sides of a story before I make a final decision about something. So I'm always kind of like happy to sit on the fence for a bit to gather all my information, be as well informed as I possibly can before I start making a decision. And what's really interesting is very, very recently, I actually have been doing some work with a really amazing doctor. His name is Dr. Brian Brown. And it's all to do with genetics. And you might think, well, what has this got to do with your, Tracy, you're digressing here. What the heck is your genetics or your DNA got to do with like your intuition? Well, hang about, because I'm going to share with you this. So as in the current environment that we're in, I've kind of been sitting on the fence trying to do a lot of research on both sides of the coin. And part of that has been trying to understand also my own genetics, not from a point of view of where did I come from, am I English, am I Maori, am I, part French, whatever the case may be. It's not from that point of view, but more so from a point of view of understanding my own genetics. What am I predisposed to? How does my own genetic system work, etc., etc.? And it's been freaking amazing going through that process with Dr. Brian Brown. So I get this test did this test, sent it off, got my lab results back, and it gave me some real insight into my own personal genetic profile. And the interesting thing about that has been that it has enabled me to not only understand my genetic profile and how my body is made up, but it has also armed me with the right information that I need about me to determine what is the right direction that I need to go in as far as what's going on in the world right now. So that's the first thing. But this plays into, that intuition and that little alarm bell going off for me, just going, hey, Trace, you need to really look into this a bit more, not from a perspective of, what's right and wrong, but what's right for you. How does your body react to various different things? What does the fors and the against mean for you, so that I can make an informed decision for me and my body and the way in which that's made up. But it also plays into how I determine what to do in multiple different situations. So it doesn't matter whether I'm faced with, hey, should I take this new job? I'm always doing a fors and against, or pros and cons, and what's the right thing to do for me, my family, etc., in this, or my business in this moment in time. And I've never ever, if you guys have read the book, The She Myth, you've also know a little bit about me. You'll also know that I'm certainly not one to do things in the right order, or necessarily in, I'm going to say in air quotes here, the right way that most of society would expect you to do things. I'm usually one that sort of sits on the peripheral, will do things a little bit out of the norm, but it always works out. I've always managed to it'll be okay. And I've always had an attitude of being very optimistic about lots of things in life, and I still am to this day. So anyway, what's the point of this entire conversation? This entire conversation is about knowing to really, in this time, is for you to really get in tune with your gut and your intuition, and think about what because inside of you what's right and wrong. And this goes for any decision that you're making. Just get really in tune with your intuition, and allow that to provide you with some level of guidance, even if that just means, hey, ding 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 ding, just take a little bit more time, stop for a moment, investigate a little bit more. Should you implement this into your business, or should it be that in your business? Should you implement this into your life, or should it be that? Just take a moment to just really do some research and determine so that you are well informed about whatever it is, that decisions that you are going to make, that they are in fact the right decisions for you, not just in this moment, but for the long term. That's always held me in good stead, and that's the way that I choose and continue to, I suppose, operate myself and my life on. But I really also wanted to share with you the program that I've been doing with Dr. Brian Brown, and how amazing it has been in terms of just understanding your genetics, learning about how your body's made up and how it works, and how to really optimize things. And when I understood the different, he calls them the Genesis zones. When I started to understand the different Genesis zones, the 5 different zones that we need to focus on, and I started to understand that a couple of mine were out of balance and not as optimal as they should be, it has meant that I've been able to put in, take the right sort of vitamins, do the right sort of things, start changing some of my lifestyle to start providing the level of support that my foundation, that my body at a very foundational level, at the gene level, needs to be able to operate at a optimal level, giving me the optimal amount of immunity, giving me the optimal amount of ability to be able to sleep, strength, cognitive function, so on and so forth. So I wanted to do a shout out on the show today for Dr. Brian Brown and his amazing program that I've been going through called the Genesis Zone Accelerator Program. And he does have a program that he released a couple of months ago, which was a boot camp, which really gave you at grassroots level, for somebody who doesn't have a medical background, kind of an information about how your body works and operates initially. So I did that program, and then I've entered into his accelerator program. I'm so pleased that I have, because the timing of all of that could not have been better to equip me with the information, the resources, not about propaganda or what other people think, but just about me and my own body. So it's been really interesting. And if you guys are interested in kind of understanding your own genetics at that kind of core level, I would highly recommend that you go and seek him out, Dr. Brian Brown, and you just take his first his boot camp when he opens it again, and you just do that process to really understand your own genetic makeup and your own profile. It's been fascinating. So needless to say, that throughout today's show, talking about intuition, just encouraging everybody to, right now you've got your own inbuilt, I'm going to call it GPS and radar system, that tells you whether or not something is on or something is off, and whatever that means to you, your own radar system usually tells you that. Just as now is the time, as it is any time, to really listen to that, really take stock of it, and start just really researching various different things. Some might take this that I'm talking about, the current global situation. I'm actually talking about all sorts of things, whether it be that, or whether it be a decision that you're making in your business. Just really get in tune with your body, get in tune with your intuition, and start making really informed decisions about the direction that you want to go in. And that's what it means to me to really start living a life that's unlocked. If I can move forward and start unlocking various different parts of me, whether it be my genetic makeup, my my life, how I want to live that, the various different ways that I do my job, etc., etc. If I can be in, have some level of control over that, which I hope we get to maintain moving forward, then that's what it means to me to live a life unlocked. And I'm hoping that you guys that watch the Unlocked show, that you too want to live your life that way, that you want to live, in a way that enables you to experience many things, that it enables you to read anything you want, that you want to be able to hear both sides of a story so that you can be the most informed as you possibly can be. So anyway, that's what I wanted to talk about today. Other than that, as you know, my family loves to go camping. That's another part of living our life unlocked. We like to be able to travel. We love to be able to get on our boat and just head over to a little island that's not for, you pretty much could swim there, not that I'm going to, able to go and camp on the beach and just do really fun stuff so that we can get out and enjoy one another's company and enjoy, the wonderful nature that we live in. So I'm hoping that you guys are going to get to do a lot of that over the coming weeks too. I know that my family and good friends that are all in New Zealand right now are in lockdown, and I hope you guys are all safe and well over there, and that the lockdown comes to an end safely, and that you can get back to some form of normality, well, everywhere in the world, sometime real soon. So anyway, guys, have a wonderful rest of your week, and get in tune, listen to that intuition of yours, and do what you think is right, and and just own that. The truth is, it's your truth. It's your time to own whatever direction and decisions you want to make. Go forth and do that. All right, guys, other than that, I'll see you again next Wednesday with probably back to our normal schedule. I'll have something else fun to share with you in the world of, living your life unlocked, being able to create your online business, whether it be creating your own show or your own online product, or even, as one of my good friends is doing right now, is she is helping people write their own book. And as you guys know, I released my book earlier this year, The She Myth, and she's now helping loads and loads of people do exactly the same, get their ideas, their concepts, and their truths out of their brain and into a book, and creating that as a long-term legacy for you and the information that you've got to share with the world. So anyway, guys, I'll see you again this time. Well, actually, it'll be 10 a.m. next week on the Unlock Show. Thanks for joining me, and bye for now.